Dealing with an inherited property can be overwhelming, specifically if it involves navigating probate or overseeing a trust. I'm here to help you on every step along the way. Feel free to drop any questions you may have in the comments below. When someone passes away, their assets, like a house or a car or money, need to be passed on to their heirs. This is where probate or a trust comes into play. So let's go over the steps involved in selling a house with a trust or probate. Step one is determine the legal issues. Step one, when probate's required. So if in Nevada, if there's not something set like the home or the property being held in a trust, even when there is a will specifying who the heirs are, the property will likely need to go through probate. Probate's the process of transferring the assets to the heirs. I need something that shows who is the administrator of the estate. The probate court will appoint an executor of the estate. The executor is usually someone that's family or possibly named in the will. The executor has the ability to sign the listing agreement and sign the paperwork. So when I meet with someone and the property is held in title in the deceased person's, the family member's name, then probate has the paperwork that shows me this is the executor and they have the ability to sell the home. Once we sign the paperwork and get an accepted offer, with probate, many times the court needs an additional court approval to sell the property. So this can be scary to a buyer. Buyers don't want to wait and see, if the court approves it. Also, during the court approval, other additional buyers can come in and overbid the current offer. So a lot of times a buyer will be scared and unwilling to write an offer on a probate property so that they don't have to deal with the extended time and risk. I helped a client last year and her father's estate had to go through probate. There was no will. And when I met with her, she had no idea. She thought she'd be able to sign the paperwork. She was living in the home, but sure enough, she did have to go through probate. So it was an extended time frame. And of course, much more money involved in expenses for her because of the attorney fees. Unfortunately, the process took a lot longer and cost the client much more money. However, step one, when the property is held in a trust, is completely different. A trust is a legal document that says how the estate's to be handled, and it appoints a trustee in the paperwork. So all I need when I'm meeting with a client is to see what's called the certificate of trust. That usually shows me who the trustees are that have the ability to list and sell the home. I can immediately list the home once I meet with the clients. We do not need additional court approval, and the trustee can sign the listing paperwork and also accept offers and sign all the paperwork through closing. We do not need additional court approval to approve the sale, so it's a much faster process. It's much easier for clients, and of course it costs much less during the sale. Currently, I have clients right now that are listing their mom's house for sale, and there's several kids involved that are heirs, and the oldest was appointed as the trustee. He signed all my paperwork. We got the home on the market immediately, and we're under contract right now with a standard 30-day close of escrow. It was a really smooth, easy process for the clients to get the property listed and sold. The only thing they had to worry about is just making sure that there was a bank account in the name of the estate so the proceeds could be wired to the bank account. So what's the key difference? Well, probate is a court process. The court's involved. There's additional time frames on that. And a trust basically means the individual has gotten in with an attorney and had a trust prepared in advance. So the time frame and costs are much less for the heirs. For many people, setting up a trust can be a smart way to make sure their family's taken care of without the additional stress and time of probate. So now you have a better understanding of probate versus trust, and you're one step closer to making smart decisions about your inheritance. Remember, everyone's situation is unique. One of the best best things you can do for your family is to talk to an estate planning attorney in advance so that you can determine what's best for you and your family. If you're new to my channel, hi there, Leslie Carver here, your expert guide in the world of real estate with a special focus on Henderson and probate. I'm here to offer advice, insights, and updates when it comes to buying or selling real estate in Las Vegas and Henderson. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you get notified when a new video is released. Let's keep going. So step 2 in the process is assessing the property. Look to see what personal property is at the home and what repairs may be needed. Personal property like furniture, clothing, and household items, it's usually best to remove those items if they're not going to be sold with the home. These days, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of great options for personal property in Las Vegas. The biggest consignment company, Colleen's Consignment, had 4 locations in Las Vegas, and during COVID, they went into bankruptcy and closed all of their locations. Now, there are still a handful of consignment companies like Chic and Cozy in Henderson, but what I find is they're really busy and packed and kind of picky on what they'll accept for items to sell. Some of the other possible good options are listing property for sale on Facebook Marketplace or on the Nextdoor app that you can sell some of the personal property. I've had lots of clients do that. It's not a bad option. There are several estate sale companies as well in Sun City, Anthem. There's New Beginnings with Brenda. She does a lot in there. I have a couple of other estate sale companies that do all over the valley. You can also sell through some online auction companies like ClarkCountyAuctions.com. They'll do an in-person estate sale or come and just buy property initially from you and sell on their website. So those are some possible options for selling property. I usually check into all of them for my clients and kind of see what makes sense for them. Unfortunately, if you're looking to donate property, even donations can be difficult these days. A lot of the charities I'm finding are picky on what they'll accept, and if you want them to pick up, there's usually a fee. They'll charge a couple $100s to pick up personal property for donations. If you're dropping off, it can be a little easier on what they'll accept, but even then, call before you go because some of the donation charitable places are very picky these days as well. Once the home has been emptied of the personal property, it's a good idea to look at some of the items that might be worth repairing. Things like painting or replacing worn flooring. I find that buyers will deduct 3 to 5 times what they perceive is needed in repair. So if they walk into a home and the carpet's worn and the walls are dirty or the house needs painting, then they may think in their mind, wow, the home needs around $10,000 minimum in work. And so I'll see buyers deduct $30,000 to $50,000 from the purchase price. However, a lot of times I can help my clients have those things completed pretty quickly and way less expensive than what a buyer would assume is needed in work. I find it's well worth doing at least those 2 items, the painting and flooring. A lot of times doing other things, maybe if it's just maintenance items are worth it, but it may not be worth doing additional items like remodeling kitchens and bath. That's very time consuming and expensive, and so generally not worth it for the heirs to take on. I do highly recommend what's called a move out cleaning. So I have buyers that go in and they clean the cabinets inside and out. They clean the windows inside and out. They clean garages. They clean even fireplaces pretty good, and you'll make your appliances look brand new. You want that level of clean. It can really make a difference when a buyer's walking in on how the home feels and help sell the home for more and definitely sell the home faster. Now on to step number 3, assess the real estate market. Our real estate market in Las Vegas fluctuates. We're anywhere from a 3-week supply of inventory in the last couple years to almost a 6-month supply of inventory. Sometimes attorneys will require the estate to get an appraisal for the value of the home. Keep in mind, an appraiser will base their value on past sales. They'll take into consideration some of the current listings, but they're really going to give more weight to past sales. I tell my clients, listen, you could get 5 different appraisers in here and possibly 5 different values. That's because appraisals are subjective, depending on what the individual appraiser is willing to add or deduct on different comparable properties. As a real estate agent, I will definitely look at the sold comparable properties just like an appraiser, but I'm going to give much more value to what's available that's comparable. And that's important because in our market with things fluctuating, it'll give you much more of an idea of what's currently happening in the market. When we only had a 3-week supply of inventory, I would pull up comps for my homeowner and there wasn't anything available many times. I'd see where there was nothing available that was comparable. So when I was looking at the solds, I might tell my seller, well, you might even be able to list a little bit higher than the past sale because there's nothing available. Now, with our market slowing down a little, I might see that there's 3 or 4 other comparable homes sitting on the market. So I'll look at those and tell my seller, you probably want to list slightly lower than the others that are sitting not sold. So I take into consideration the solds, but I'm really going to give more weight and discuss to my client what's available because that's more of a reflection of where the market's trending. So what financial factors would influence you to keep or sell an inherited property? Comment below. On to step number 4. Evaluate if you want to keep, sell, or rent the property. So many times when I'm meeting with clients, they do want to look at options on the home, specifically on an inherited property. If you keep the home, you know, many of the homes have sentimental value. It's an emotional connection for my client. Keeping the home, real estate goes up in value. So if you're keeping the home long term, you can see that as an investment. You can also enjoy the use of the property by either living in it or keeping it as a second home and enjoying staying in it. Keep in mind all of the costs related to the property when you're considering keeping it. You know, keep in mind that there may be a loan, there might be HOA fees, utility costs, maintenance fees related to the property. So when you're considering keeping it, making sure you're looking at possibly longer term so that you're in a good position, and also all of the costs in maintaining the property. If you're considering selling the property, this can be an easy one, specifically if there's multiple heirs. Selling the property puts cash for the estate so that the property and the assets can easily be divided among the heirs. This also makes sure that you're not having long-term maintenance or problems on, you know, how the property is split with multiple family members. Also, selling the property allows you to pay off debts. And for many of my clients, even when they're considered keeping it as a possible rental, we will look at the property and see if it makes sense as a rental. Possibly you sell the property and invest in another home that makes more sense to keep long-term as a rental, or invest in the stocks and bonds, and maybe that makes more sense for you financially. You really want to consider options. A lot of times people go, I'm going to keep it as a rental, but you really want to have a real estate agent help you kind of run the figures and make sure it makes sense for a rental home. If you are considering keeping it as a rental, take into consideration like vacancy, maintenance issues, and the risk that possibly, you know, the market might fluctuate with demand on tenant occupied homes. So you want to keep into consideration things like managing tenants and the property. Deciding whether to rent, sell, or keep the home takes careful consideration, and a probate realtor can really help you make informed decisions on what makes the most sense for you. I have my residential real estate probate specialist certification. This was a lot of additional training and education I had to take in order to earn that certification. And it really has helped provide me with the expertise and the knowledge to help my clients. I also have a lot of tools when it comes to selling personal property or vendors with help with preparing the home to sell. I can help be your advocate when it comes to selling a probate property. This makes a big difference when you're working with a real estate agent, specifically on probate, because there's additional timeframes and information that the real estate agent needs to help you with during the sale. I can help you with all aspects of the sale, from handling the personal property to overseeing the transaction. For more videos about real estate in Las Vegas and Henderson, please make sure to check out one of my other videos on your screen. I appreciate you for watching and see you on the next one.